Welcome to Let's Grow, the podcast from We Do Business Finance. We provide a range of flexible finance solutions to help SMEs grow. In this episode, our Chief Commercial Officer Sam Wilson chats to Leanne Dawson, Director at Mills Commercial Finance. Leanne has over 16 years' experience in financial services and set up her own commercial finance brokerage in 2021. Sam and Leanne talk about their experiences as women in a male-dominated field, how to bring young people into the industry, and whether they'd encourage their children to follow in their footsteps. Thanks so much to Leanne for her time, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Leanne, thank you for coming today. And can you just give us a quick introduction to yourself?
Yes, so my name is Leanne Dawson, Director of Mills Commercial Finance. We are a cash flow specialist, so commercial finance, anything from new start up to probably usually about 40, 60 million turnover. Don't have a specific in products, but it's all basically trading businesses. Do you need assistance on growth, distress, whatever that is, you need cash back into your business, you come to us.
And we wanted to chat today more about, because we're both women that are well known in our industries, and my view on invoice finance is still very much old school, very much male dominated. So what are your views on that?
The same. So when you have a look at the roles, there's not many people in roles, especially in sales, as females. There isn't. So if you have a look at it, it's mainly men. So men are usually still in control of passing in the work, etc. And then the females are still the relationship managers, client managers, the ones stuck in the office. And yeah, they just don't have the flexibility.
Do you see that in the broker side as well? So for me, is as you've said, sales, I find it very male dominated. If I'm going to interview someone, 90% of my people are men.
Yeah.
Quite a few object that they're going to have to work for a woman as well. There's still those out there. Do you see it more in the broker side as well, being male dominated?
Yeah, I'm sure there's stats if you have a look at NetBible and stuff like that, but there's not actually many female brokers. If they are, they tend to work for people. So you've got your larger brokerages where they might be more like, I don't like to say call centre, but they might be 30 plus, where they buy in the work and there's people sat on the desk, and it may be a little bit different. When you're having a look at the ones where they self-generate work, and that's to me where the difference is. I'm trying to think now how many female brokers I can think of, and it's a handful.
There's not many that, like you, that own their own business, they are invested in the people and the time. And also as well, because you've done the sales role as well in invoice finance, even I'm still finding now the people I grew up with are all mainly men in my industry.
Yeah.
So if we move on from that with apprenticeships, my worry now is there's no young blood coming out there. We've talked about this in the past there's no one young that you would go, they're just starting, they can come into sales, they can do this, they can progress. It is a bit like I want to come into sales and I want to be earning this, not I want to learn.
That's just change of culture as well. So even taking away the female to male sort of ratio, if you have a look at now, so we don't have a big team. I've had a team before where we've grown them, and I'm all into getting them in young, do you know?
Start them off young.
Yeah. But mainly because you can train them. So, and also you can learn them to open up to understand what they need and what they can actually achieve. And that's the big thing for me. It's all about investment in growing them and sort of understanding what they need. We'll look at mine. So I have a 21-year-old, I have a 20-year-old, the rest are in the 30s, 40s. But those are the ones where we go, right, well, what programme have we got? So we'll send them on to comment. So what has been really good, so Millie's about to go on to comment at Synergy, for an example. So it's being able to go, right, well, can we send them to places? What can we do? It's easier to have apprenticeships when you're a lender, because you can create a programme. You can go spend time in operations, spend time in risk, spend time in sales. When you're a brokerage, the issue is that it's purely sales. So we have an operations function, we have a marketing function, so we can bring them into those roles. But we're small, so they might only be one or two people, so they don't really have anyone to learn off. When we bring them in on the brokering side, they come in and full of enthusiasm, which you'd expect, really good, eager to learn. We put them on the programme, so whether that's their AAT, because I think that they should know the numbers, whether it is marketing, their asset finance, property, whatever it is as qualifications that we'll put them through. But what happens is they, especially the males still more than the females will go for the qualifications, the males will go for the cash.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, oh, I'm going on to comment, but I'm not earning commission within that time. So it's also like a thing of how men and female think differently.
And I do think as well with that is you go back to the old-fashioned eat what you kill kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people still want to chase the salaries. And especially in sales, you go, but you should still be able to do the deals.
So I see it more now on the brokering side. So when I was at lender, you see that lender. So you see your peers and what they're doing. Now I see every lender. So take invoice finance. So we deal with all the invoice finance lenders. The quality of the salespeople vary considerably. But what you do see is exactly that. So we have, I won't name a few now.
Where,
in my view, they're moving on too early. So where you used to be a bag carrier, a BDE, whatever you want to call it, you do that for 2 years. And you would learn from the best, and you would literally learn from the bottom up. You're seeing people move on in 6 months. Invoice finance is complicated. You have a look at, and I have a pet hate of this, other brokerages where they've never done it. They've done loans, but because they think they can just pass it over to a single lender with a name and number. If invoice finance goes wrong, that business can go bust because it's cash flow.
Yeah.
So if you don't understand the intricacies of what can be funded and what can't, it's an issue. So with people wanting to chase salaries, I get it. I was there.
We've all been
literally,
there, though,
you've got a house. You're seeing these people around you that got nice houses, nice cars, and you want them. And it's quite difficult when you try to mentor, help, whatever you want to call it, going, you're not quite ready yet. In about another 12 months, you will be epic.
Yeah.
And they still jump, and you can't change that. But if you can create a culture of supportiveness where they feel like they're getting some value back first, you can try to overcome it. But some people, you're just not going to take it out of.
And I think your comment was really good is because invoice finance, we always say, can help grow a business, can help nurture a business, can put it right for a business. But done wrongly, whether it's the client doing it wrong or the lender doing it wrong, it can kill it overnight. Yep. And I think that is where you say it's a dangerous game if you're moving on too quickly as well. Yeah. Or you've got an inexperienced team with no one at the helm as well.
There's a responsibility. We are not a sell and forget product when it's invoice finance.
Yeah,
it's not like, okay, we're putting a loan in. You want £100,000 to invest in IT. Okay.
It's done.
And what's your return? You can still get it wrong if you don't get the term right, etc. But you're in and you're out. Invoice finance, and we hear this all the time, if there is an element where the cash has drifted, construction, obviously it changes all the time with the applications, etc. If you get to payroll then and you can't make, it's an issue. But if you've moved on too quickly, do you understand why that is? Have you looked through the ledger? Because a business owner is busy running their business. Our job in finance is to understand what we do, which is finance. And I do think there's a lack of learning. I think there's a lack of young people coming through. I think there's enough people saying they want to change it, but not being enough being done to change it.
I agree. And it comes back to what you said as well at the start, is understanding the numbers. Because it's all well seeing a ledger, but if it's in construction and they're underwater on the contract and you don't know that as the lender, and your customer's too busy that they don't know that because they're just chasing the turnover. And I think as well, it doesn't matter whether it's in construction neither, because you could just be selling white cups to another lender kind of thing.
Look at the haulage sector at the moment. So that is a prime example of it's been hit by so many components since COVID. And prior to that with Brexit, etc., workforce. And where they are, a lot of them are chasing revenue. The jobs are loss-making. No one is understanding that anymore. No one's looking at the financials. So you're putting in saying you want a condition, saying you want management accounts. But then no one's got the capability of looking at them and understanding whether it's making money or not. But how do we change it?
Yeah.
And I think that is a different conversation to the male and female, because I think that's an overall. But I still think finance is heavily male dominated. And coming back, I think that females will always find it difficult to move through. There's more women in business events, more trying to obtain funding for women. All these groups are starting. The issue is with some of them, and I'll ask you something honest here, of some of those you've been to, have you felt they've been beneficial, or have you felt like it's more an area where they're just trying to comfort themselves?
I would say the majority is more of the area where they're trying to comfort themselves, and you get the odd one where they get the right mix right.
Yeah.
But then it dies a death because they've not got the momentum, for me. And it's hard when you're in business and you want to work with other women in business, and then you think some of them are quite happy just sat at the desk and some really want to move, and it's getting that right mix as well.
There's also the element of finance. I went to an event the other month, it's women business owners in recruitment. So it was going in, having a look at finance, and absolutely exceptional people there. Unbelievable what they've done. But I'd say 90% of them was risk averse to any form of credit, any form of debt whatsoever. And that was stagnating growth. So it's creating those environments where you go, well, push yourself. How are you
going to grow? Yeah.
And you need to, debt's not a bad thing. Done rightly, use your accountant, have a look at forecasts, do the right decisions. But I just think that naturally women and men are different. So yeah, I asked about the groups because that's what I've found. We've even looked at setting some up ourselves. So in terms of going, right, well, let's get a mix to really help bring people on. It's always been the things when I was at the bank years ago, no one would ask for a pay rise. So you had your peers of the wage discrepancy of the men to women. And that's because a lot of them, they would wait to be asked. So when they had their annual review, because they weren't asked before, oh, you've had a 2.5% pay rise. Brilliant. I'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Do you know,
Yeah.
I've done this, and I've gone in. And that's personality, but also just they can do that, and allowing them an environment to go, how do you get that comfort to go, I am bloody brilliant. I do deserve this, and I will ask for it. I do find
in our office especially, we don't shout about our good points as much as probably what we should do as well. For me, is we always just starting to sit there and think, I've just done, that's just normal. I've swept up, I'll just carry on. I find that a lot as well, for me. What challenges are you seeing, especially being a broker, so you see all the industries?
Yep.
What challenges for you are the main ones that reoccur, whether you're in recruitment, you're in haulage, you're in fabrication? What are the main challenges?
For the trading businesses rather than cash flow. So there's a lot of debt that's been taken. So when the bounce back loans were around, CBILS, RLS version 1, 2, GGS, all these schemes. Yeah, so you have a look, and the stats are there on this in terms of the cheap money, and I completely get it, was used to repay the invoice finance facilities. But then what they did, they took on debt. Then when COVID lasted longer, they then took on more debt. So they've now got two free loans. All they need to do is refinance, extend it back over 5 years. And they can't do. And the reason they can't do, because on top of that, they've been hit by increase of cost of raw materials, lack of workforce, increased rates. So when you do look at employment, all the agency costs, etc., going up, failure rates. So you've got all these, and then you've got this debt that you never had. And a lot of the business who hadn't had finance before, they didn't actually know how to operate with it because they'd always had a positive cash balance, so they didn't know any margins. They didn't need to. They could pay HMRC. They
always had that buffer in the bank account. It was a case of whether it was an overdraft and that was the buffer, or whether it was a cash balance. And like you said, now they've got debt, and now they're getting lenders like us going, but we need a cash flow forecast, and they haven't got an idea how to do a cash flow forecast and also predict where they think the sales are. Because I think that's another issue is, it's great saying I'm going to be £1 million turnover or 10 million, but some can't predict the next 6 months of where their turnover's coming from as well.
Depending on which sector they're in, they haven't got it, have they? So no, so I'd say it's a really difficult time being a business owner, and as well as obviously I have the brokerage, and I have other business interests as well, so I can see it from the trading cycle of the different sectors of where the struggles are. it's just how you get through it, and a lot of that is being lean. And restructuring.
It's a lot of
restructuring.
restructuring. We're seeing a lot of restructuring, and we're seeing a lot of clients where they need help, and you must come across those clients that don't want to ask for help because their accountant says you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, but you need this.
Yep.
So they've got like devil on one side, angel on another, thinking I can get there, I can grow, but my accountant's saying this, my accountant's not saying this, or my mate in the pub is saying this. And I find that is coming back more and more.
Well, yeah, so it's always sort of been there. So Dave in the pub, Dave's told me I just need to do this. Yeah, of course Dave has. But no, with the accountants, I don't want to swear on here, but with some of the accountants, they're too busy. They're an accountant.
Yeah.
Yep. They don't work at bank. They never have done. They don't work in finance. They work on numbers and seeing you're profitable. And then there's the different levels of bookkeeping strategy. They don't know the lenders. They know banks. So if you go and you only know a Barclays, HSBC, RBS, whatever it is, and they've gone to them and gone, oh, God, no, that's not a doable deal.
Yeah.
They're tier 1. There's 5 tiers.
Yeah.
There's loads of stuff out there.
And I think as well on the tiers, just because it's tier 5 doesn't mean you're a lender of last resort.
No.
Everyone's got a means to the end within the tiers. Whereas when I worked in the bank, it would be like, why are you doing that? You're not going bust. Why are you borrowing that? Come to me.
Yeah.
And it's going back to the old philosophy of all eggs in one basket. That's all being moved away from. Everybody wants to have everything. And I think for you as a broker, because you must have different pieces of the pie kind of thing with different lenders as well.
Well, you look at the alternative lending market, it's huge. It's probably one of the best times it's been in terms of that market, in terms of flexibility. So, and that's why I say with the brokerage, I say we're a cash flow specialist. And the reason we say that rather than invoice finance or loans or bridging or trade. The reason it's cash flow is because someone will come to us and go, I need £1 million. You go, okay. And you just go, I need £1 million loans. I just want it over 5 years. What we do is we have a look and go, well, actually, your trade is 60% invoice. So generally in our mind, we can use that. You've got an asset register here that's not being utilised. So cheaper money. Or we've got e-commerce and you've got your merchant cash advance products. And you build it and you make sure the cash flow works properly. So you're not just putting debt in. And that's where I think every business should have a 13-week forecast. I do. Because if you start it, it's so simple to carry on that then you can put it in and see what it does to it. And
especially like how it grows.
Exactly.
So I agree with you, the 13-week cash flow. And it doesn't matter on the size of your business because even if you're a new start, once you've implemented it, it grows with you. And it does grow arms and legs. But again, it comes back to us as a business, us as lenders and all different lenders is it's only as good as giving the information as the person reading it at the other end and actually reading it and understanding it.
Well, you know that some of the larger institutions now, they outsource to India the financial analysis.
Yeah, frightening. Which
is really scary because how can you help? And as a business owner, like you go to your bank manager, how it used to be, they'd understand it and really help you. And it really is.
They were the good old days. Well, for me, it was because it was like I could come in, meet someone and go, no, you're not having that. You don't need invoice finance because this is all you need because your bank says this. Your bank's done this. I loved that when I was at the bank because it was then I was part of their business.
Yeah. But you felt like that because you had a smaller portfolio, so you might have had 30 to 40 clients.
Yeah.
And you went to see them frequently. Oh my God, the amount of stuff, like, we've just got this in, have a try of this, do this.
Yeah.
All that closeness, which hopefully I think at a larger end still exists. The problem is because the financial institutions cost cutting. It's the smaller SMEs that lose out because now, what do they have? Is it about 250 clients is average now?
And no one gets visited. So, here's a phone number. Can't.
It's a call centre of a thing of no relationship. And then it started off where it's, okay, it might have been a debt ratio or a turnover.
Yeah.
And it's gone higher and higher. So, and I think some of the challenger banks coming in may sort of try and bridge that. Or it would be bridged by, well, the likes of yourselves as well in terms of doing it more relationship driven. And people will pay for that, because that support as well. A business owner is really lonely. So unless you are in a larger outfit, it's really lonely. And if you haven't got your board of directors, an NED, or anyone to give some form of support, the decisions all come back on one person constantly.
I agree. And I still think it's those businesses, not necessarily. So the bank I worked at was everyone got visited from 1 million turnover to 10 million by a certain number of staff, and 10 million plus went higher up, which was absolutely fine. But I do think it needed to be a part of a debt ratio as well for me. But also as well, it was, you felt part of their business.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I loved when I came into the invoice finance arena many, many years ago, was I came from property, which was transactional, to invoice finance arena. But for me, it was more about you touched it, you felt it, you went and looked at the business, you understood the business. And there's that I don't think you would lose from an invoice finance point of view, but we've lost it within the SME community. Yeah. So many we see, like you've said, is you go out and you plan it with the clients. Is we see so many where we might just get a name and a number, and then we're going out, touch it, feeling, understanding it. Or that it is a lonely old world because they do need help off the bank, and the bank's just saying, no, you've got invoice finance, no, I'm removing your overdraft. Or you've got this lovely cash buffer, but now you need to dip in it. And you need to dip in it to grow your business. And it's having that cash flow forecast, I think, as well, which to me would help drive productivity for me in the businesses, in the arena that we're in as well. Is comes back to if they can understand the numbers, they need to understand the debt, and need some sort of advice as well of who that could be, should be. Not Dave in the pub. Dave in the pub's told me this.
Yeah,
I do love that. Still hear it.
It does. Yeah. It makes you giggle every time you hear it. You go, okay, so what does Dave do? Yeah.
Retired.
What is it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 20 years ago, sheet metal worker. Brilliant. No, it's always been the case in terms of there. But I think we're in a funny climate. We really are. Joe, there is a lot of distress out there. It's a time where really there should be more support rather than less. And then coming back to sort of the new people coming through, who's supporting them? So the home working. So that really is going off on a tangent. I'm not going to say too much about that. But
everyone wants to work at home. How do you train them?
How do you train them?
Yeah.
So we're in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So to get the blend, so they can catch up on their other stuff, but it's non-negotiable. And it's non-negotiable because we have to do the training. The proposals that they need to be able to write to understand the information that's come through, if they're sat on their own and they've had no education, they're not around.
What do you think of Teams then? Because that's all I hear. We could do it on Teams.
Yeah, I think Teams definitely has a place for time saving.
Yeah.
In terms of if you get a lot of inquiries, because you still like to look at them. Do you know, like, so rather than getting in the car, because, oh my God, like, I think back, I was in the car every day. So I'd get all my calls done in the morning, I'd set off, make sure I got there to 9, go to the next one. The amount of miles you did was unbelievable.
Am I showing my age? I used to have my A to Z like that and turn it the way I was driving. That is showing my age. Sorry.
I don't even know. Good, I'm bad enough with a sat-nav. I can't even find my way with a sat-nav. I have to give myself an extra half an hour before my appointment to make sure I'm at the right place. Yeah.
And I go, I don't know. I'm on the M6 where I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the picture shows.
Yeah. I used to love my A to Z. I'd be like, oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I'm going here. I can see. Highlight it. That's how you learn though, innit? Going out and seeing it.
Yeah, so times are different now, so there's new ways of doing it. But I do think the ones that might stand out, and what's the average age of a business owner? So how do they still like to do work?
Yeah,
so I think there's that. So I do think, and I had this conversation with someone last week, because they're like face to face with everyone. Everyone is face to face. And I'm like, well, eventually the average age of the business owner is going to change, and they're not going to want face to face, because everything is instant. And that's the thing with your phone. It's all instant.
Yeah.
Why waste that time? Why do that? I can be sign my shorts, whatever, speak to them on Teams. It will change. It will change. But we have, like, some of our best marketing is post. because no one does it anymore. So when we do it, you just send it in a different colour envelope, whatever that is, because no one gets a letter. So it's, you've got a QR code on there, so it's still, we're with the times a little bit. But it
works.
Yeah, so it is sort of, at the moment, finding a blend. And that's, again, coming back to the young people in terms of, it's good. Social media, the amount of times I've said, right, we'll go on to socials. I'm on LinkedIn, but don't really use it. Should do massively. I'm stupid not using it. We've got people approach us all the time. Can we do TikToks? Well, my daughter loves TikTok. She's like, her following's huge. And she's like, I'll do it for you.
And Instagram.
And I'm like, who no one wants to see me on TikTok? So it's that mental thing of also being able to evolve.
Us two doing this, chatting today, but doing
it's a little bit weird.
It's a bit. So with women in business, what actually would you say attracted you to come into finance? I mean, for me, mine was I joined a bank and a bank was for life. I then had a child and then realised I needed to earn money. So I chased the money and chased career at that point. It was literally 2001, light bulb moment, child, change career. Don't know whether that was good or bad, but yeah, didn't look back after leaving the bank.
Right. So getting into banking was by accident.
All right.
Yeah, so I came back. I went travelling as you do, came back, got dragged back by my mum at the time, and then was told that I needed to find a job, walked into a bank, and then that was it. They wanted a cashier, that's how I started. Started as a cashier, worked out, I was quite chatty with sales, so I moved on extremely quickly. Within 12 months, I was a financial advisor. But I didn't like retail. So when I won't bore you with the full story, but
I forgot I was a financial advisor for a while. That's what you did
in the bank. It was what you did. You moved on. You was a cashier. You was a mortgage advisor or a financial advisor.
Yeah, I was to become a mortgage advisor.
Banker. It was those were your roots. Wow. And then the business. Remember the business person coming in, but I never really had anything to do with them. When I left again, had children, I went studying later. I had my own business, and that's when I fell in love with business. But because going back to your point of where you need to be in a bank. At that age, we was told that you went to a bank, it was a job for life and you worked your way up.
Yeah.
So it was always an aspiration then that that's what I would do. So that's what I did.
Yeah. I just wanted to be a bank manager because my mum and dad wanted me to be a bank manager.
Yeah, it was a good title, good job.
Became a bank manager, had child and thought, I'm better than this.
The best thing about finance is there's a lot of different options.
Yeah.
So you just think that it's one. And especially going into banking and lending and stuff like that, it's really not. There's so many different components to it. But once you are in it, you see what's around. And I was always, at that point, because I had children young, I was money orientated. I had a mortgage. I wanted to get it paid off. Then there was something else. They wanted holidays. They needed shoes, clothes.
Yeah, all the usual. With kids, it's always ongoing, isn't it?
Yeah, so chasing funds. So I just moved. I knew I would always have my own business in terms of a brokerage. I knew that quite quickly.
Was that daunting for you to have your own business?
I'd had one previously and sold it. So no, I knew that I wanted one. But going back to the women in business and female, where we are not the best, as a gender, I suppose, is I thought I had to know everything. So I moved, if you have a look at my CV, I've moved from lender to lender to take something.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
I learned my trade at one, then the next was sales of volume, then I wanted to do bigger deals, so I went to the next one doing bigger deals, then it was construction, because I didn't feel like I was quite ready. I was ready years ago. I should have done, again, a conversation with someone the other week. I worked out I should have done it 10 years ago. And I've been in business 3 years. So I should have done it then. I was ready then.
Yeah.
I was. But I didn't feel that I was. And there was always something else I needed to learn or do. And I'd say like when you come...
No, I get that. For me, as I joined the bank, they taught me how to lend. I then moved to another lender who taught me how to get my money back and look at the whites of their eyes. And that was just a full life on experience. For me, was just fascinating.
That's the hard bit though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Putting the cash out is easy, getting it back is not.
And that's what you don't realise. Being in a bank, that's where you are. Not institutionalised, but that's where you sort of more... Because if anything went wrong, it's like, oh, it's going over to the bad debt department, it's going over to GRG or whatever the banks call it these days. It's not my job.
That word.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not my job anymore. I lent the money and it's gone wrong. It's over to them. Whereas moving to another lender and then actually being told, go and get your money back and knock on the door. You were like, what? Okay.
Would you recommend finance to your children? So like coming into it?
Yes. Not sure I'd recommend sales to my child at the moment. He's seen all the hours I've worked, and for him it's like he's more operational. He likes the numbers, he likes the nitty gritty, he likes that bit, but he loves the finance world. He likes the thrill of the deal and he gets that. I think I've just put him off sales, I'm not going to lie.
I tried doing the opposite. So my daughter works for me. I was pushing her into operations of doing something else in terms of sales to learn the trade, but no, she wants to do sales. But what I have done is, and this is what I think they should all do, and I really push all of them, all the young professional events, get out there face to face and network as much as possible. Anyone you meet, whatever advice you can get from them, take it, use it, use everything that's around you. And you'll have an amazing career, because unfortunately it's not all about who is the best person in terms of terminology, etc. It's also how do you hold yourself. And that's how I think I don't know how you feel, but how we've got on so well in terms of pushed ourselves forward, never sat in office. Any opportunity I was like, yep, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that is a major thing to do, and I hope that the young people don't lose that so much, because it is all online now rather than out.
Because one of the things I'm teaching on my sales team is I'm not saying to them is I want them to know who the competitors are, but I want them to have a drink with them. So that way, if you've got a problem and it's one of their clients, talk to them.
Yeah.
Likewise, if they've got a problem, they'll talk to you. I says, that is so much better. So the people I've grown up with, we all talk to each other.
Over a wine.
Or two.
Yeah.
3. But that's where I think it's the in-life experience happens so much, where you can just say, I've got this and I'm having this issue. And also, don't be afraid if you've cocked up and said something, own it as well. For me. It's the only way you're going to learn is from your mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. And the need to, do you do much with NACFAB?
Yeah, do bits, yeah.
So they started a programme for a training academy to put in farmers. I think it only lasted a year. That's
really?
It's gone. UKFI, so when it was ABFA. So all mine, they have to do the invoice finance exams. So the foundation certificate, they don't need to do a pass certificate because they're not working at a lender, but they have to do the fundamentals. So with UKFI, but you have a look, when it changed from ABFA to UKFI, it's more full banking rather than special. It's a little bit different. So how do people know where to go? Yeah. How are they going to get the training that's external out of the workforce, and especially if you're on a hybrid role?
Yeah. We've
got to start thinking differently, because we need new people coming in, because I don't know how much longer you want to do this for, but I don't want to do it forever. And you want new ones coming through.
You want the new ones coming in.
And you get excited about it as well. Seeing someone do well and move on, and when they're learning, you can see they've got it. You're like, oh yes, that's mega. That is...
And grown and flown the wings. Yeah, it's all that as well. It's just seeing them grow and flourish.
That is showing our age now, isn't it?
It is showing our age.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.